Good evening, everyone present at this August House, my respected judges, respected members, and all my dear friends. I, Parmeet Singh, stand before you to express my views on the topic India, challenges and opportunities ahead. To talk about India, I would like to begin with a few lines. जब जीरो दिया मेरे भारत ने दुनिया को तब हिंदी आई, तारों की भाषा भारत ने दुनिया को पहले सिखलाई, देता न दशमलव भारत तो चांद पे जाना मुश्किल था, धरती और चांद की दूरी का अंदाजा लगाना मुश्किल था। सभ्यता जहां पहले आई, जन्मी है जहां पहले कला, अपना भारत वो भारत है जिसके पीछे संसार चला। संसार चला और आगे बढ़ा, बढ़ता ही गया। भगवान करे ये और बढ़े, आगे बढ़े और फूले फले। These wonderful lines from Bharat Kumar in the movie Puram and Paschim truly testify the DNA of India. Today, standing in the 14th year of 21st century, all of us are looking forward, a billion of us are looking forward towards prosperity. India aspires that it shall be leader in every field that it enters in. The total quality management approach. Remember, India is going to be the only young country in this aging world, with almost 65% of its population below the age of 35. Yes, there are going to be a lot of challenges ahead of us, but we are also going to grasp a lot of opportunities. Opportunities of inclusive growth, opportunities of research and development, opportunities through innovation. Challenges ahead of us, challenges of women empowerment. Remember, 22% of our population is looking forward to us to raise it above poverty line. There are other challenges of a transparent government, the most important. Challenges of corruption, internal security, and terrorism. We'll talk about a lot of topics in this. I would like to begin with public notion. Ma'am, in 47, when my grandfather came from Pakistan, people were considered as liabilities, burden. But today, there's a traditional change in this mindset. People are considered as assets, as a human capital. Gradually, India is moving forward towards demographic dividend. Demographic dividend we mean new windows of opportunity that would open up when India, the nation as a whole, will develop. Fertility rate will fall down, there will be development of economy, development of human resources, and all this will be possible due to effective policy making and effective implementation of that policy and on good market performances. People will have good roads to go to the world. People will have lights to study at the night. People will have education. Only then we can achieve this demographic dividend. If we do not pay attention to this, please consider this population is going to be very difficult to handle in future. India will have a very critical point either to leverage its demographic dividend or to move forward toward demographic disaster. Next thing I would like to talk about is technology. 40 years back, computers were seen as something very intimidating, something that reduces jobs. But today, our country has a huge acceptance towards technology. We are in an economy which sells 8 billion mobile phones a month. Our mobile subscribers have reached almost 292.37 million users by May 2012. India sees technology as something empowering itself. Especially the infusion of internet in sectors like banking, telecommunication, e-governance have reduced a lot of redundant work. Advancements like internet, telecom revolution, low-cost broadcasting, social media was something inconceivable 2 decades ago. Moving forward, India today also looks forward very complacently to globalization. As Indian companies are moving forward in the world, going abroad, they are performing very well. Indians feel globalization is something that they shall participate a lot more in. Remember, a very important opportunity awaits India. That is collaboration of African countries. This collaboration of African countries is going to raise a huge demand of infrastructure, roads, railways, construction, and many other things. Tata has already set up 2 company units in Kenya. At the same this is also going to be important because as India will raise meat demand in African nation, it will draw a lot of currency to its nation that is beneficial to our unfavorable current account deficit. Another matter I believe India is upbringing itself in is deepening of democracy. Democracy has been a bottom-up process. Indians have very well now realized the power of having a voice, the power of living in an open-minded society. Democracy has been something embedded. Major problem India faces today is the attitude of our politicians. Well, I would not like to criticize much on it because it's a very negative process, but give us, be it UPA, NDA, Third Front, give us a government that is accountable to the people. At least that has transparency, that believes in development along with justice. We all know in future, India is going to have clashes with various other rising powers, like China, enemies like Pakistan, other powerful countries like America. To talk to them eye to eye, eyeball to eyeball, India needs to be internally strong. To be internally strong, believe me, India is not self-reliant yet. It needs to be self-reliant. To be self-reliant, it needs to adopt an inclusive model of growth. What is inclusive model of growth? Inclusive model of growth means growth where benefit reaches to every section of the society. Roads are built from where they are meant for. Upbringing of poor states like Bihar, Chhattisgarh, Orissa and other states, at least to a national level of development, will consolidate India as a single country, a single market. India's growth rate is highly fluctuating. Do you all know what is the major reason behind it? India's growth rate is dependent upon growth rate of only few developed states. I think the vision of India for growth shall be each state shall contribute at least a percentage towards GDP of the nation, the percentage of population that it holds. Bihar holds 8.9% of population of the country. At least it should give 10% of GDP contribution. Presently it is 2.2. It's very sad. But our governments also needs to look into this matter. Provide special status, special industrialization status to Bihar. There will be a lot of industrialization. All the mineral resources have gone towards Jharkhand. Government is not losing anything because presently there are no industries who will not pay taxes in future. Another thing, infrastructure. Infrastructure, due to our backgrounds, Gandhi being a pro-villager, Nehru saying that Delhi is a non-Indian city, our Indians' attitude of India towards infrastructure and development of cities has always been controversial. India never really gave priority to infrastructure. Just before Atal Bihari Vajpayee launched Golden Quadrilateral project. Today, we realize that even our city should look colossal. We realize cities are engines of creativity, cities are engines of innovation, cities are engines of development. In Section 3580 of Income Tax Act, government is promoting us, it's encouraging us to build new hotels, to build new hospitals, cold storage areas, warehouses, housing projects, etc. and providing up to 150% of capital subsidy. Well, there will be a lot of talk about moving forward in this India. But moving forward, and imagine taking along an ideology that is complicit, that is orthodox, will be the biggest disaster. Believe me, still caste system exists. There is still political preferences over religion. There is still blind faith. We had a recent example of Mr. Dolbekar being shot in Pune. Another very important sector of India, hard-working sector of India is labor. Do we know 93% of the labor sector is unorganized sector? They do not have social security, they do not have provident funds, they do not even receive the salary in banks. India is still a young country, it has good opportunity to devise a good labor reform, it has a good opportunity to devise a good old age pension scheme so that when all of us grow old, we do not have problems of entitlement. There will be a lot of topics that cannot be touched in this few minutes. This being a very broad topic of Indian economy and various opportunities that it might grasp in near future, we are looking forward towards an economy which might be the world's most powerful economy in the next 40 years. We all can give stats. We all can say India is 9th largest in this, India is 7th largest in this. But believe me, concentrating in TQM approach, total quality management approach, aspiring to be the leader in whichever field India enters in, like Japan did after Hiroshima and Nagasaki, will gradually and automatically improve India's ranks in every sector. Ranks are something that are just numbers. The real work is done by governments. We need to be very careful by choosing our governments. Come what may, we can say anything to Mr. Anna Hazare, but he has a very important point to make in political, I would say, transition. While concluding, I believe that all of us together, closely knitted as a nation together, start bearing up challenges and certain opportunities to improve ourselves, we will find ourselves being part of a nation's development. Nation that is a very important role to play in world history. With these impeccable thoughts about my nation, I would like to end my speech by saying one line. भारत का रहने वाला हूँ, भारत की बात सुनाता हूँ. Thank you all.